The Galactic Council had gathered on Station 12 for what they called a cultural exchange. In truth, it was an inspection. Humanity had joined the galactic community only 3 years ago, and the older races still did not trust them. Ambassador of the collective floated near the observation window. His body was like clear water held in the shape of a tall figure. He watched the human delegation with 4 eyes that never blinked. "They seem so fragile," he said to his assistant. "Short lives, soft skin, no claws or venom. How did they even survive on their world?" His assistant, a younger, checked her data pad. "Their planet is classified as a death world, ambassador. High gravity, extreme temperatures, dangerous wildlife." Made a sound like bubbling water. It was laughter. "Impossible, look at them. They are smiling and shaking hands. Death world species do not smile." Across the station's main hall, the human delegation was indeed smiling. They wore simple uniforms with their flag on the shoulder. 2 of them stood slightly apart from the diplomats. They wore different uniforms, darker in color, and they did not smile as much. Sergeant stood with his hands behind his back. He was 32 years old with a calm face and sharp eyes. Beside him stood Private, younger by 8 years, with her hair tied back in a tight bun. They were part of the security detail, regular infantry soldiers assigned to protect the diplomats. "This is boring," whispered. "Stay alert," said quietly. "Something feels wrong." Looked around. The station was full of aliens from dozens of worlds. Some had too many legs, some had no legs at all. A few looked like Earth animals but walked upright and spoke perfect galactic standard. "I do not see anything wrong," she said. "The dock workers left too quickly," replied. "And that ship that just arrived did not send proper identification codes." Before could respond, the lights went out. Emergency red lights came on a second later. Then the screaming started. Pirates. They came through the cargo bay, fast and violent. There were at least 40 of them, mixed species, all carrying weapons. They spread through the station like fire. The alien diplomats panicked, and the other council members tried to run, but they were not built for running. They were made for swimming. They were made for climbing. They were made for digging. None of them were made for fighting. But the humans were different. Sergeant moved before most aliens even understood what was happening. He grabbed the nearest council member, a small ambassador, and threw him behind a metal cargo container. Then he pulled his sidearm and fired 3 shots. 3 pirates fell. Private was right beside him. She kicked a table onto its side, creating cover for the human diplomats. Then she started shooting. Her aim was perfect. Every shot hit something important. The pirates had expected easy targets. They had expected scared diplomats and slow security guards. They had not expected humans. Ran toward the pirates instead of away from them. This confused them. Every species in the galaxy ran away from danger. It was basic survival instinct. But this human was running toward the weapons, toward the violence, toward death itself. He shot 2 more pirates, then his gun was empty. He did not stop to reload. He just used the empty gun as a club and broke a pirate's face with it. Then he picked up the pirate's weapon and kept fighting. Had moved to higher ground. She climbed a stack of cargo containers in seconds, faster than the aliens thought possible. From up there she could see the whole battle. She called out positions to, guiding him through the chaos. 3 on your left, 2 behind the blue crate, 1 climbing toward me. Moved like water through rocks. He was not the fastest creature on that station. He was not the strongest, but he did not stop. He did not slow down. He did not give up. A pirate shot him in the arm. He grunted, switched his weapon to his other hand and shot the pirate back. Then he kept moving. The fight lasted 4 minutes and 37 seconds. When it ended, 23 pirates were dead. 12 were wounded and captured. 5 escaped back to their ship, had been shot twice and cut once, had a burn on her shoulder from a near miss. Neither of them stopped moving until every threat was gone. Ambassador watched from behind his cover. His water body had turned a dark blue color, which meant fear. He had lived for 300 years. He had seen wars and disasters and the fall of empires, but he had never seen anything like this. 2 humans, just 2, against 40 pirates. And the humans won. After the emergency teams arrived and the station was secured, approached the human ambassador. The ambassador was a calm woman named Shinai, and she was checking on her security detail. Ambassador Shinai said, "I must ask you something." "Of course, Ambassador." "Those 2 soldiers, the ones who fought," his voice was shaking, "they are your elite warriors, yes, your best fighters." Shinai looked confused. "And no, they are just regular infantry, standard security detail." Felt his body go cold. "Regular, this is normal for humans." "Well, they did a very good job today. I will make sure they receive commendation." "Commendation?" His voice became high and strange. "They killed 23 enemies. They were wounded and did not stop. They ran toward danger, and you say they are regular." Shinai still looked confused. What else would they be? Did not answer. He floated away as quickly as he could. He needed to send a message to the council immediately. He needed to warn them. Humanity was only 3 years into their galactic membership. Everyone thought they were weak because they smiled and shook hands and talked about peace. Everyone was wrong. That night sent his report. It was marked with the highest emergency code. "Classification update required," he wrote. "Species, human. Previous classification, standard oxygen breather. Recommended new classification, apex predator. Priority, immediate." He attached the security footage of the fight. He added his own analysis. He explained how the humans moved, how they thought, how they refused to stop even when wounded. At the end of his report, he added one more note. These were regular soldiers, not specialists, not elite, regular. The council must investigate what humanity calls their elite forces. If regular humans can do this, what can their best warriors do? He sent the message and then floated in the darkness of his quarters for a long time. He could not stop thinking about Sergeant's eyes during the fight. There was no fear in them, no hesitation, just cold, calm focus. Had lived for 300 years. He suddenly felt very young and very scared. The galaxy had made a mistake. They had invited humans to the table without understanding what humans really were. And now it was too late to take the invitation back. The Galactic Council chamber was loud with angry voices. Representatives from 47 species all talked at once. Their translators struggled to keep up with the chaos. High Chancellor slammed his stone fist against the table. The leader was made of living rock, and when he hit something, everyone felt it. The room went quiet. "Enough," said. His voice was like gravel being crushed. "We will discuss this properly. Ambassador, show us the footage again." His water body flickered with nervous colors. He pressed a button on his console, and the holographic display came to life. The council watched the pirate attack on Station 12 for the 7th time that day. They watched Sergeant run toward the enemy. They watched Private climb the cargo containers like it was nothing. They watched 2 humans defeat 40 pirates in under 5 minutes. When the footage ended, the chamber was silent. "This is why I called this emergency session," said. "These humans were not special soldiers. Their own ambassador told me they were regular infantry, basic security detail." "Impossible," said representative of the. She was small and covered in soft brown fur. "No regular soldier fights like that. Your translation must have been wrong." "My translation was perfect," replied. "I asked 3 times to be certain." "Then the human ambassador was lying," said another voice. This was Consul of the, a tall insect-like being with clicking mouth parts. They were hiding the truth about their military strength. Chancellor raised his rocky hand for silence. We should not assume dishonesty. We should ask directly. Summon the human ambassador. The message was sent, and 30 minutes later, ambassador walked into the council chamber. Was a tall man with gray hair and a kind face. He had been a diplomat for 30 years before humanity joined the galactic community. He was known for his patience and his calm voice. Both would be tested today. Honored council members said with a small bow, "How may I help you?" Chancellor gestured to the holographic display. "Ambassador, we have reviewed the security footage from Station 12. We have questions about the 2 soldiers who defended the station." Nodded, Sergeant and Private. "Yes, I read the reports. They performed excellently." Performed excellently. Consul made a clicking sound of disbelief. They killed 23 armed attackers by themselves. They were shot multiple times and did not retreat. One of them ran directly into enemy fire. And you call this excellent? Paused. He could see the fear in the room. He had been warned that this might happen. Humanity had tried to join the galactic community quietly. They did not want to scare anyone. They wanted to be seen as peaceful and friendly, but sometimes the truth had a way of coming out. They did their duty, said carefully. They protected the people they were assigned to protect. Their duty, repeated. Ambassador, please tell us honestly. What class of soldiers are sergeant and private? What level of training? What special enhancements? Took a deep breath. Sergeant has 12 years of service. Private has 4 years. Both completed standard infantry training. Neither has any genetic or cybernetic enhancements. They are regular soldiers. The chamber erupted into chaos again. Lies. Impossible. He is hiding something. Chancellor struck the table again. Silence, let the ambassador speak. Waited until the room was quiet. He had dealt with difficult negotiations before. He had faced down angry politicians and stubborn corporate leaders, but he had never faced a room full of terrified aliens. I understand your disbelief, he said, but I am telling you the truth. In Earth's military, sergeant and private would be considered good soldiers, above average perhaps, but not exceptional, not elite. Representative raised her small paw. Ambassador, your own records show that humans are physically weaker than many species, shorter lives, no natural weapons. How can regular humans fight like that? Thought about how to explain it. He thought about Earth's history, the wars, the struggles, the endless fight for survival. He thought about the wolves and lions that hunted humanity's ancestors, the diseases that killed millions, the ice ages and droughts and famines. He thought about how humanity had survived all of it, not because they were the strongest or the fastest, but because they never gave up. Humans evolved on a dangerous world, he said finally. We learned that stopping means dying. When we face danger, we do not think about retreat. We think about how to win. But the wounds, said. The sergeant was shot twice. He did not stop. Adrenaline, explained. It is a chemical our bodies produce in dangerous situations. It blocks pain, increases strength, sharpens focus. Every human has it. The council members looked at each other. This was worse than they thought. Ambassador, Chancellor said slowly, if these are your regular soldiers, what do you call your elite forces? Hesitated. This was the question he had hoped they would not ask. We have many specialized units, Marines, Rangers, paratroopers, and then there are the ones we call Special Forces. The room went cold. Special Forces, Consul repeated. What makes them special? They receive additional training, years of it. They learn to operate in any environment, any situation. They are selected from the best of our regular forces and then trained to be even better. How much better? Asked. His voice was barely a whisper. Did not want to answer, but he was a diplomat. He believed in honesty between nations, between species. If the galactic community was going to work, it had to be built on truth. Special Forces operators are trained to do things that regular soldiers cannot, he said. They can survive alone in hostile territory for months. They can complete missions that seem impossible. They are trained to fight when outnumbered 10-1 and win. The silence that followed was heavy and thick. Chancellor finally spoke. You are saying that your regular soldiers, the ones who seem like elite warriors to us, are just the starting point. Yes. And your actual elite forces are significantly more dangerous. Yes. How many special forces soldiers does humanity have? Paused. I am not authorized to share exact numbers, but tens of thousands at minimum. The council chamber was completely silent. 47 species sat frozen in fear. They had invited humanity into the galactic community thinking they were bringing in a weak, young species that needed protection. They had thought humans were like children who needed to be guided and taught. They were wrong. After a long moment, Consul spoke. We need access to your military records. We need to understand what we are dealing with. Nodded slowly. I will need to consult with my government, but I believe we can arrange limited access. We have nothing to hide. The meeting ended shortly after. As walked out of the chamber, he heard the voices behind him. Frightened voices, angry voices, confused voices. He felt sorry for them. They had built their galactic community over thousands of years. They had rules and traditions and careful balances of power. And now, humanity had walked in and changed everything without even trying. Thought about his grandfather who had fought in a war long ago. His grandfather used to say that war was not about who was right. It was about who was left. Humanity had always been good at being left. He just hoped the galaxy would not make them prove it. The Galactic Intelligence Division worked in the deepest levels of the Council headquarters. This was where analysts from a dozen species studied threats to galactic peace. They had files on every known danger in the galaxy. Pirates, rogue empires, cosmic phenomena, ancient weapons. Now they had a new file. It was simply labeled Humanity Military Analysis. Senior analyst led the team assigned to this project. He was a like Consul, but younger and more nervous. His clicking became faster when he was stressed, and lately it never stopped. Show me what you have found, he said to his team. Junior analyst Myra pulled up the first display. She was, her water body a pale blue that showed her exhaustion. She had been working for 3 days without rest. We requested access to human military records, Myra said. They gave us everything. Historical records, training documents, organizational charts, everything. Everything? Centeni twitched. That seems too easy. I thought so too, Myra admitted. But I think they genuinely have nothing to hide. Or rather, they do not think they have anything to hide. They do not see themselves the way we see them. She pressed a button, and the display filled with information. Charts and numbers and images of human soldiers through history. Let me start with basic infantry, Myra said. This is what sergeant and private were classified as, standard foot soldiers, the lowest level of combat training. Stared at the footage from Station 12 that played in a small window. That was their lowest level. Yes, standard infantry training takes approximately 10 weeks for basic certification. Soldiers learn weapons handling, physical combat, tactical movement, and first aid. After that, they are assigned to units and continue training while serving. 10 weeks, repeated. To create soldiers like that, 10 weeks. Myra nodded grimly. It gets worse, look at this. She changed the display. New images appeared. Soldiers in different uniforms, different equipment. These are Marines. They are trained for rapid deployment to dangerous areas. Their training is longer and harder. Many humans fail and are sent back to regular infantry. How much harder? Physical standards are 30% higher. Training includes water combat, vertical assault, and close quarters fighting. Marines are often the first soldiers sent into a fight. felt cold despite his species having no temperature preference. And these Marines are still not the elite forces the ambassador mentioned. Correct, Marines are considered a specialized branch but not elite. Above Marines there are Rangers. The display changed again. The soldiers in these images looked different, harder. Their eyes had a quality that made one look away. Rangers undergo additional training after completing standard infantry or Marine service. The Ranger course has a failure rate of over 60%. Humans who complete it can operate independently for extended periods. They are trained in long-range patrol, ambush tactics, and survival in any environment. Failure rate of 60% said, humans fail their own courses that often. The training is designed to push them beyond their limits. Humans believe that extreme training creates soldiers who can survive extreme situations. Myra paused. They are not wrong. Junior analyst, a small with dark fur, raised his paw. Analyst Myra, I have been studying their historical records. May I share something? Myra nodded. Brought up a new display. It showed a map of Earth covered in small marks. These marks represent human conflicts over the last 500 years. Wars, battles, territorial disputes. There are over 3,000 documented military engagements. Stared at the map. The marks covered almost every piece of land. They fought each other constantly. Yes, humans did not stop fighting each other until they discovered they were not alone in the universe. Even then, some conflicts continued for years afterward. Their entire history is war. Myra took over again. This explains a lot about their military development. They have been refining their fighting methods for thousands of years. Every generation learned from the previous one. Every war taught them something new. She changed the display one more time. The room became very quiet. And now we come to what they call special forces. The images showed soldiers that looked almost ordinary. They wore simple clothes. Some had beards. Some looked like they could be teachers or farmers or shopkeepers. But their files told a different story. Special forces undergo selection processes that last months. The exact details are classified, but what we know is terrifying. They are subjected to extreme physical stress, sleep deprivation, psychological evaluation, and tests designed to make them quit. Over 80% of applicants fail. 80% of Rangers fail? Asked. No, 80% of all applicants fail. Most Special Forces candidates are already Rangers or Marines. These are humans who have already proven themselves exceptional, and most of them still cannot pass Special Forces selection. Made a small whimpering sound. His fur had gone flat with fear. Myra continued. Those who pass receive years of additional training, languages, cultural immersion, advanced weapons, medical skills. They learn to operate alone or in small teams deep in hostile territory with no support. They are trained to complete missions through any means necessary. What kind of missions? Asked, though he was not sure he wanted to know. Capture or elimination of high-value targets, sabotage of enemy infrastructure, rescue of prisoners from fortified locations, training and leading of local resistance forces, intelligence gathering in areas. Myra's voice became quieter. And according to some historical documents, missions that officially never happened. The room was silent. The clicking of mouthparts was the only sound. There is one more thing, Myra said. I found references to units that go beyond even standard special forces, groups with strange names, Delta, DVGRU, SAS. These seem to be selections from within special forces, the best of the best of the best. What do they do? I do not know. The records are sealed. Even the human government would not share them. Myra turned to face directly. But I found one report. A small team of these operators was sent to rescue hostages from a fortified compound. They infiltrated the compound, neutralized all guards, freed the hostages, and escaped. The entire operation took 40 minutes. There were no survivors among the enemy. How many operators? 24. How many enemies? Myra hesitated. Over 200, plus automated defenses. Sat down heavily. His legs could not support him anymore. We have made a terrible mistake, he said. We invited these creatures into our community. We thought they were weak because they were young and smiled at us. They are not weak, Myra agreed. They were just being polite. Raised his paw again. What do we do now? We cannot expel them from the council. They have done nothing wrong. Thought for a long time. The clicking of his mouth slowed as he considered the options. We do nothing aggressive, he finally said. We stay friendly. We stay cooperative. And we pray to whatever gods we believe in that humanity never has a reason to use their special forces against anyone in this council. He looked at the display one more time, at those ordinary-looking humans with their extraordinary capabilities. Because if they do, said quietly, I do not think we could stop them. The team returned to their work in silence. Above them, the Galactic Council debated and argued and worried. But down in the intelligence division, the analysts had already reached their conclusion. Humanity was not a threat, not yet, but they were the most dangerous species the galaxy had ever seen. And the most terrifying part was that they did not even seem to realize it. The hegemony had been expanding for 200 years. They were a species called the tall reptilian warriors who believed the galaxy belonged to them by divine right. Every world they conquered became a slave world. Every species they defeated became servants. For decades, the Galactic Council had avoided them. The territory was on the far edge of known space. They were someone else's problem. But problems had a way of growing. The message came on a quiet morning. 3 council worlds on the border had been attacked. The fleet had swept through like fire, destroying defenses and capturing millions. The survivors sent desperate calls for help before their communications went dark. High Chancellor called an emergency session. We have ignored this threat for too long, he said. His stone body was darker than usual, a sign of deep anger. The hegemony will not stop. If we do not act, they will consume us all. The council chamber was filled with frightened voices. Representatives argued and accused and blamed. Nobody wanted to take responsibility. Nobody wanted to commit their ships and soldiers to a war they might lose. Then Consul stood up. There is one option we have not considered, he said. His clicking was slow and deliberate. We have a new member species, one with military capabilities far beyond our own. The room went quiet. You cannot be serious, Representative said. The humans. Why not? Replied. They have offered friendship and cooperation. They joined our council willingly. Is it not time to see what that friendship means? Rubbed his rocky chin. The intelligence reports say human infantry alone could match our best soldiers if we asked for their special forces. We would be inviting something we cannot control, interrupted. We have all read the reports. These humans are predators. What happens when the hegemony is defeated? What if they decide we are next? Then we die fighting the hegemony instead, snapped. At least with the humans we have a choice. The debate continued for hours. In the end, fear of the hegemony proved stronger than fear of humanity. The council voted to request human military assistance. Specifically, they would ask for special forces support. Ambassador received the request that evening. He read it 3 times to make sure he understood. They want our special forces, he asked his aide, a young woman named. Yes, Ambassador. They are desperate. The hegemony has conquered 3 worlds in 2 weeks. The council's combined fleet cannot stop them. Sat back in his chair. He had been waiting for this moment since humanity joined the council. He had known that eventually the galaxy would need human help. He had hoped it would come from something peaceful, scientific cooperation, medical advancement, cultural exchange. Instead, it came from war, as it always did. "Contact Earth Command," said. "Tell them the Council has requested assistance, and tell them to send the quiet ones." 2 weeks later, a small human ship arrived at the Council headquarters. It was not impressive. No weapons visible. No escort fleet. Just one transport ship that looked like it had seen better days. Consul watched it dock with disappointment. This is their response. One ship. "Wait," said. The ship's doors opened. 12 humans walked out. They wore simple civilian clothes. No armor, no visible weapons. They looked like travelers or traders, not soldiers. A woman led the group. She was average height with black hair cut short. Her face was calm and unremarkable. She could have been anyone. "Ambassador," she said with a small nod. "I am Captain, we are here to help." Stepped forward, his antennae waving with agitation. "Captain, the Council expected a larger force. The hegemony has thousands of ships and millions of soldiers. How can 12 of you make a difference?" Smiled, it was a gentle smile, almost kind. "We are not here to fight their army, Consul. We are here to end the war." "I do not understand." "You will." The Council assigned the humans quarters and gave them access to all intelligence about the hegemony. Captain and her team studied everything. Maps, fleet positions, communication intercepts, cultural analyses. They asked questions that seemed strange. What did hegemony leaders eat? Where did they sleep? What were their daily routines? "Why do these things matter?" Analyst asked during one briefing. "Military strategies require fleet positions and supply lines, not breakfast habits." Looked at him with those calm, unremarkable eyes. Every war is won or lost by decisions. Decisions are made by people. People have habits, weaknesses, fears. We do not fight armies, analyst. We find the person who controls the army. Then we visit them. Felt his exoskeleton shiver. Visit them. In the night, when they feel safe, when they believe no enemy could possibly reach them. His voice was soft, almost pleasant. We help them understand that they are never safe, not from us. Over the following days, the Council members watched the human team prepare. It was unsettling how normal they seemed. They laughed and joked with each other. They were polite to the alien staff. One of them, a large man named, spent hours playing with a child he met in the recreation area. "They do not seem like killers," Representative observed. "That is what makes them effective," replied. "Our special forces are trained to blend in, to seem harmless. Nobody fears them until it is too late." After 1 week, Captain requested a meeting with the Council. "We are ready," she said simply. "Ready for what?" Chancellor asked. "To begin operations. We have identified the hegemony's command structure. Supreme Commander controls their military. He operates from a fortified station in the heart of their territory. If gives the order to stop, the invasion stops." "That station is impenetrable," said. "Our intelligence says it has multiple defense grids, thousands of guards, and no outside access." Nodded. "We know. It will take us approximately 6 days to reach it." 6 days? It would take a fleet months to fight through hegemony space. "We will not be fighting, we will be walking." The Council members looked at each other in confusion. "Walking," repeated. "Through their territory, past their guards, into their most secure locations." Stood up. "We will need transport to the border. After that, we work alone. You will not hear from us until the mission is complete." "How will we know if you succeed?" asked. Smiled that gentle, kind smile again. "You will know." The human team departed that night. Their ship slipped across the border and then, nothing. No communications, no signals, no trace. Days passed. The Council waited nervously. The hegemony continued their advance, conquering 2 more worlds. Hope began to fade. Then, on the 7th day, everything changed. The hegemony fleet stopped moving, not retreated, just stopped. Ships hung motionless in space. Soldiers stood frozen at their posts. The entire war machine ground to a halt. Then came the message. It was broadcast on all hegemony channels, relayed to every ship and station in their territory. "This is Supreme Commander." The reptilian leader's voice shook. He looked terrified, his scales pale and eyes darting. "The hegemony is withdrawing from all Council territory immediately. All conquered worlds will be released. All prisoners will be freed. This is not negotiable." Behind him, barely visible in the shadows, stood a figure in simple civilian clothes. "Captain." She was smiling that gentle, kind smile. The message ended. The council chamber exploded with questions and cheers and disbelief, but Ambassador just sat quietly, unsurprised. He had known what would happen. He had known what special forces meant. Regular humans fought wars. Special forces ended them. Without a single battle. The hegemony withdrawal happened faster than anyone expected. Within 3 days, their ships had pulled back from all Council territory. Within a week, the conquered worlds were free. Within a month, the mighty hegemony had closed their borders and gone silent. No war, no massive fleet battles, no billions of deaths on burning worlds. Just 12 humans and 7 days. High Chancellor requested a debriefing from Captain. She agreed, though she made clear that certain details would remain classified. The council chamber was packed. Every species wanted to hear what happened. They wanted to understand how the impossible had been achieved. Captain stood before them looking exactly as she had before the mission. Calm, unremarkable, like someone's neighbor, or the other 11 members of her team sat in the gallery, equally ordinary. "Thank you for agreeing to this briefing," said. "The council has many questions." "I will answer what I can," replied. "Let us start simply. How did you reach Supreme Commander? Our intelligence said his station was impenetrable." Nodded. "It was heavily defended, but defenses are designed to stop threats. We did not look like threats." "You disguised yourselves." "We became other people, maintenance workers, delivery personnel, medical staff. The hegemony has millions of servants from conquered species. No one looks twice at servants." Consul leaned forward. "You walked through their entire territory pretending to be servants." "We walked, yes. We took local transport when available. We moved slowly, carefully, never attracting attention. It took 6 days to travel what a fleet could cover in hours, but we arrived undetected." Representative raised her paw. "What happened when you reached the station?" "We entered through service tunnels, maintenance areas, places that guards never watch because nothing interesting happens there." Paused. "Then we waited. We studied the commander's schedule, his habits, his security rotation. We waited for the perfect moment. And then we visited him." The chamber was silent. "Just visited?" asked carefully. "We introduced ourselves. We explained the situation. We helped him understand that his choices had consequences." "You threatened him?" Shook her head. "We showed him reality. His defenses could not stop us. His guards could not protect him. His entire empire, with all its ships and soldiers, could not keep 12 humans out of his most secure location. If we wanted him dead, he would already be dead." "But you did not kill him." "Death would have created chaos. New leaders would have emerged. The war would have continued. We needed him alive to give the withdrawal order." His voice remained calm, almost pleasant. "We explained that we would be watching. If the hegemony ever threatened Council space again, we would return. Not with 12, with hundreds, and we would not be visiting to talk." Analyst, watching from the gallery, felt his whole body go cold. He finally understood what made special forces special. They did not fight armies. They made armies irrelevant. What good was 1,000,000 soldiers if 12 humans could walk past all of them and reach the one person who mattered? What good were warships and defensive stations if the enemy simply ignored them? The hegemony had spent 200 years building the most powerful military in their region of space, and humans had made it all worthless in a single week. After the briefing, approached Ambassador privately. "May I ask you something?" said. His clicking was slow, subdued. "Of course. Why did you not use these forces before? You joined the Council 3 years ago. You could have dominated us from the beginning, made yourselves rulers of the galaxy." Was quiet for a long moment, because that is not who we are. "You are the most dangerous species we have ever encountered." "Yes, we know," looked tired. "Humans have spent our entire history fighting, ourselves at first, then our environment, our diseases, our limitations. War is in our blood in a way that other species do not understand." "Then why do you not conquer?" "Because we have seen what conquest does. We have been conquerors and conquered. We have built empires and watched them fall. We have learned, slowly and painfully, that peace is better than war, that cooperation is better than domination, that the best victory is the one where nobody dies." Gestured toward Captain, who was speaking quietly with her team. "Our special forces could have killed Commander, could have destroyed his station, could have started a war that would have cost billions of lives. Instead, they talked to him, showed him the future, gave him a choice. And if he had chosen wrong, then they would have done what was necessary, but they gave him the chance to choose right. That is the human way now. We do not seek war, but when war comes to us, we end it quickly, completely, and then we offer peace." "Thought about this for a long time. The Council was afraid of you before, now they are terrified." "I know. What will you do about that?" Smiled. It was a human expression that was beginning to understand. It could mean many things: happiness, sadness, acceptance. "We will continue to be good neighbors," said. "We will trade and cooperate and help when asked. We will not threaten or intimidate. We will be patient." He paused. "And eventually the galaxy will understand that humans are not monsters. We are just very, very good at surviving." The human team departed the next day. Captain shook hands with everyone who asked. She smiled and laughed and seemed genuinely happy to have helped. She looked nothing like a woman who had brought an empire to its knees. That, realized, was the most terrifying thing of all. The hegemony had walls and weapons and warriors. They trusted in their strength, and strength could be overcome by greater strength. But humans did not rely on strength alone. They used patience, intelligence, adaptability. They could be merchants or diplomats or scientists. They could smile and shake hands and talk about peace. And then, when necessary, they could become something else entirely. Not monsters, not conquerors, just survivors. And survivors, understood now, were the most dangerous creatures in any galaxy. 6 months later, the hegemony requested a peace treaty with the Galactic Council. They asked for trade agreements and cultural exchange programs. They asked to join the galactic community as friends rather than conquerors. The Council accepted. Ambassador helped negotiate the terms. Captain was not present, but everyone knew her shadow hung over every discussion. Once final report was filed, he included a new assessment of humanity. It replaced the previous classification entirely. Species: human. Classification: apex predator, voluntary restraint. Threat level: extreme. Recommendation: maintain positive relations at all costs. Do not provoke. Do not threaten. Do not give them a reason to demonstrate their full capabilities. He added one last note just for himself. We were afraid of their regular soldiers. We were terrified when we learned about special forces. But the real lesson is simpler than that. Humans do not need weapons to be dangerous. They do not need armies or ships or technology. They just need a reason. He looked out the window at the stars. Somewhere out there, 12 ordinary-looking humans were returning home. They would blend back into human society, become invisible, wait until they were needed again. The galaxy had learned something important. Humanity was peaceful because they chose to be. They were friendly because they wanted to be. They smiled and traded and cooperated because they believed in building instead of destroying. But if anyone ever forgot that lesson, there were people like Captain waiting in the shadows. Regular humans were scary enough. Special forces were something else entirely. And the galaxy would never forget it.